I found a perfume that attracts guys. Hi everyone, my name is Stacy. Question for the girls. Tell me, have you ever wanted to find a universal tool for attracting guys? Well, for example, can it be any special look or gait? I found my remedy and used it for its intended purpose, and the result surprised me greatly. Would you like me to tell you what it is? How did it work, and where did I get it from? Then look further, do not forget to like the video, write comments under it, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Before, when my friends went on dates, I had no idea how it should happen. What do I talk about with guys? But the most important thing was how to please someone whom you like. I did not have a particularly great appearance. I dressed casually, had ordinary clothes, more often than not, pants and t-shirts or a jacket in winter. The rest basically didn't change, as well as my hairstyle. I certainly wanted a change, to accept myself, but how do I become more beautiful? I had a big nose, crooked legs, and I was never especially slim. Because of my complexes, I did not dare to meet guys, although I really wanted a relationship. And then one day, my most loyal and close friend Kevin advised me to buy some perfume. He said that it would help me to get out of my head, help me feel beautiful. You're already beautiful, don't you see? He always said, but I didn't believe his words, because he was my friend, and therefore not objective. Kevin, you're so sweet. Thank you, but your words don't help me in any way. So, what is that perfume? I asked him, and he handed me the bottle. He said he bought it from a fortune teller when he went to Berlin. He said that he bought them for himself, but if it would help me, he would like to help. He said that if I was going to be the one to do it, I would attract the guys, and if he was, he would attract the girls. I didn't believe him, but he convinced me to try. I agreed, because I didn't have anything to lose. Just as I was about to spray the contents of the small black bottle on myself, he stopped me. Hey, wait, I need you to get ready, he told me. And then he took me to a beauty salon. I hadn't been to a place like this since I was born, but Kev talked me into sitting in a chair. He and the beautician picked a new hair color, hairstyle, and began to conjure. I spent almost the whole day in the beauty salon. I even had my makeup done and came out transformed. After that, we bought a couple of new dresses and I put on my shoes for the first time. And the final touch, Kevin said, sprinkling a few drops of perfume on me. We went straight for a walk. It was amazing, but true. The perfume worked. A few guys walked past me, looking around, smiling at my face, waving, and I felt like a queen. Kevin took me to the park, and I was constantly getting attention. But then we sat down at a cafe for a snack. While Kev went to order, I sat and admired my new manicure. Excuse me, are you busy? Someone asked. There was a handsome guy standing in front of me. He sat down next to me and started to talk. It was unusual for me and so awkward, but nevertheless, I agreed. While we were talking, Kevin came back, and the guy stood up when he saw him and said he didn't want to interrupt. Oh no, it's just my friend, I said. I looked at Kevin ambiguously, and he left the tray of food and walked away. With that guy, I immediately started everything. We met almost every day, and his name was Bobby. Despite the fact that we were in a relationship, all of his friends complimented me. He was even jealous, and I basked in the male attention and was happy. I used that perfume every day. A month later, Bobby went to another country on business with his family, and other guys found out about it and began to actively communicate with me. I went on dates, and it gave me confidence. I liked receiving compliments and flowers. I have never been so popular or received so many flowers. I was taken to restaurants, driven around the city, called and texted. The guys literally fought for every hour of my time, and it was flattering. I was at the height of my happiness. Even my friends envied me, and I didn't need anyone, because I deserve it all, don't I? But nothing lasts forever. It all lasted exactly as long as I had the perfume. And then it all ended. I tried to squeeze out another drop, but it didn't work. I felt unwell, and on the next date, because of the feeling of discomfort, I did not look well and did not talk much. The evening had failed miserably. Then I remembered about Kevin. I went to his house. "Oh, I already thought you wouldn't remember me," he said. I felt ashamed. I suddenly realized that we had not spoken all summer. Since the day I sent him away, I had not even written to him once, even though he was my best friend and the only one who was always there. I asked him to get that perfume. He was indignant. "So, you only need that? And you won't even apologize?" he asked. I lowered my head and said I would cry. He asked me why I needed the perfume, but I told him I was becoming ugly without it. "It's a pity there are no spirits that would add brains," he said. That was rude. I said that if he didn't want to help me, then I would get it myself. And then I went home. I looked for the fortune tellers he told me about, but I couldn't find them. I went back to dressing in my old clothes, pulling my hair back, hunching my shoulders, and not talking to anyone. I was bland again. I started to get depressed. I tried to put on makeup, but I couldn't, so I went back to Kevin. I started crying, begging for his forgiveness, begging for the perfume, and then Bobby arrived. It turns out that he came back from overseas, and they are now living near Kevin's house. I was so happy, I ran to him, but he didn't recognize me, and then he asked, "What happened to you? You were beautiful, weren't you?" It really hurt me. I lowered my eyes and stepped back, to which Kevin replied that he thought Bobby was blind because I was always beautiful. But Bobby just laughed. "Is this your friend? The one? Now you're the perfect couple," he said, and was punched in the face by Kevin. Somehow, I managed to separate them. Bobby went home, and I sat down next to Kevin and asked him how he was. And suddenly Kevin said that I was not only stupid, but also blind. He said that until I accepted myself, nothing would change. "You still don't understand? I gave you the most ordinary perfume. I took it from my sister. Did you believe it?" he asked. "What did you say?" I said. Kevin took a deep breath and said that he had made up a ridiculous idea just to help me finally believe in myself, because only with self-love does change begin in us for the better. I listened to him and cried. It took me a moment to think about what he'd said, and I left without saying a word. All week, I was in a bad mood. I didn't really eat. I didn't really want to do anything. My mom noticed my mood and asked me how long it had been since I'd seen Kevin. "Why do you suddenly ask about him?" I asked, and my mother replied that he was a good guy. "Why aren't you dating him? He loves you so much and has been with you for a long time," she said. "What?" I asked again. It was hard for me to believe it. After all, we had been friends for so many years. Then I told my mother that I must have made a mistake and offended him. Everyone makes mistakes, but the wise one is the one who tries to correct them. And is it possible to do anything while sitting at home? I don't think so, she said, putting the dirty dishes in the sink. Suddenly, I was reminded of the bright moments from my childhood. Every time I got into trouble, or I was hurt, or I cried because of a broken toy, Kevin was there. He was always there to protect me, to lend a helping hand, to stand by my side even when I was wrong. Just like the day he punched Bobby and then said I was the best girl in the world. I suddenly felt sick. I had dismissed him so unattractively, even humiliated him, and had not even considered the fact that he had made me believe in my beauty. I jumped from the table and ran to his house. I met Bobby on the way. "Oh, you came to see your friend, the loser? And you're a good couple. 2 losers. How could I even look at you?" he asked. At that moment, my rage surged, and I swung and kicked him in the face. Bobby fell, and I screamed that he wasn't even worthy of Kevin's little finger, that he would never be even a little bit as good as my friend. Bobby twirled a finger at his temple and went home. Kevin was standing on the doorstep of his house. He was smiling at me. I was silent, and he gestured toward the door. "Will you eat?" he asked.